Boom.
Get stunned.
Exactly.
It's very nice.
So, especially coming into this lane, it's a little bit interesting with Dolos because we've seen there is a bit of role overlap between Jurgen and Hot Biscuit, for instance, both kind of naturally the ranged players. It seems they sort of take turns flexing the picks, seeing what they feel like picking at the time. You feel like the Ashka from Hot Biscuit is something you really want to start sticking on as we climb a little bit further into these brackets?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's very important for players to stick with their comfort picks, absolutely, because it's where they are best, and you should definitely pick your best. Even though your hero might not be as good against something else with any picks, you should still go for it. Absolutely.
And I mean, it looked good. Even in that series against Red Cannons, you definitely saw why Hot Biscuit is lauded as, you know, one of the best players to ever touch Battlerite, let alone easily one of the best players to ever touch Asuka. You know, his volcano placements were very good. He locks down large spaces of the map, set up for some really creative combos. And honestly, like, I would be very interested to see that Croak Asuka Older come back. It's very much, I was looking forward to talking to you about this because you played so much in an age of Battlerite where seeing a comp like this come back at the first major international LAN is kind of, it's a bit poetic in a sense, isn't it? The Croak Asuka Older was there at the beginning, and now Croak Asuka Older is still here even now. It's back again.
Usually, I guess in the end, the old comps, they come back, and people want to try the same old stuff what used to work back in the day.
Yeah.
Maybe it works now in this new meta, and I expect them to definitely play that against Team XD.
Yeah.
They warmed up with that comp. They might be delivered a very nice game, very nice combos. Let's see how the Koreans are able to fight against that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've seen teams like Korea seem to have a little bit of difficulty when encountering major melee pressure, so I think Jurgen in particular has looked so strong on heroes like Croak. Now we are going to have the picks locked in. Dolos with the Older, Rook, Iva. What a little blast from a couple of weeks ago. And then Team XD, of course, the Paloma, the Freya, and the Destiny.
Oh, as Interflash would say, good.
And then
Team XD has a very nice comp. It's a very nice, solid comp. They have defense, they have damage, they have everything, but Dolos is just brute force.
You feel even after Rook was tuned up a little bit in the last patch, this comp still definitely flexes its strengths, right? The way that Iva works off of Rook to sort of enable him with the taser stun, with the tractor beam pull. You feel these are all things that still work just as effectively together?
And if you had Older to that, you have Older ultimate for Rook anytime. Global ultimate that is too. So Dolos definitely has a lot of ways to save the Rook. And I don't know, can Team XD like handle that Rook? Can they?
I'm not sure because historically Destiny has been such a powerful tool to sort of combat Rook in some situations, but also, of course, you're picking the Destiny directly into the Older as well, so you're just going to get the E dropped on you over and over again. Caught without your space means you're going to get Older ultimated by somebody. Like, you have it to bail out the Rook, as you said, so even if Destiny does find that punish window for Rook, is it going to be that effective? It's going to be hard to say. You can bubble the mouse too. I mean, oof.
Indeed. There's not much Destiny should be able to do in this match. Let's see. Maybe Team XD, maybe the Destiny player finds out how to just simply dodge every chrono flux and not fight with Iva. I don't think that's the solution. They need to lock down Rook.
Right.
If they lock down Rook and they have the map for themselves, and they might be able to get the middle here.
Yeah.
It's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah. The Rook adaptation I think is very interesting, and I'm excited that we're going to start seeing him a little bit here, I think, as well as we progress into the other side of the bracket. I know Black Dragons is probably going to amp up our Rook representation quite a bit over the next couple days of the weekend here. We do have the players joining in the lobby here, so we should be getting into the game soon. I'm very interested to see, especially after this comp received heavy nerfs, because a lot of, most of North America and Europe, you know, by the time the BPL finals rolled around for the different regions, we're pretty much convinced that this comp that Dolos is running right now was probably one of the best, most effective comps we'd seen in Battlerite up until then. It was just, you know, so stifling to play against the constant pressure from the Iva sort of fighting at melee range, with all those abilities to block down the enemy team and make it really, really difficult. And then all of that, of course, working beautifully alongside the Rook with all the setups, the armor breaks, the boulders to move people around, all of his different very aggressive abilities that you want to spend a cooldown on, but every time you spend a cooldown on them, then immediately, you know, you got to think about what am I doing about this other thing that's headed directly for my face. It seems very, very difficult.
It's very difficult. This is one of the hardest comps to play against.
Yeah.
It has, like, Rook has a lot of self-healing. And if you try to focus Rook, don't hit the counter, because if you hit the counter, you're most likely going to lose.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the Older just dealing damage from the backline.
that feels like always the most frustrating part of playing against this comp for me is you're dealing with the Rook, you're dealing with the Iva, and then the entire time the Older's just sitting there with his Lantern, just racking up the yellow damage.
Eat sand, son.
Eat sand, pocket sand, you know, just
my
over and
childhood
over
memories.
again. Oh,
Eating sand.
We're delving a little bit deep now. I got uncomfortable.
Done.
I'm not ready. It's not that kind of desk. I don't have that sort of degree.
All right. It seems like one of the players have issue logging in for a moment, but we should get there soon.
It's all good.
We can get there soon.
Talking about video games, we're going to take another look at the draft again. I think it is quite interesting to think about sort of how these different team comps work. In the games we cast a little bit earlier with Team XD, myself and In the Flesh, I was kind of questioning the Freya pick because while I think Hisgrim was very disruptive on the enemy backline, it felt like at the end of the day, even with the Freya ultimate, which we've seen be such an explosive tool, you know, big 50 damage swing, kaboom, it just felt like it wasn't as effective, and it rarely was able to actually close out a kill in the way that you wanted. And it feels like against Dolos, that's going to be so difficult. You've got everything from the Iva Zap Shield to the older ultimate itself to stop that from landing.
Yeah, it's Freya versus Rook going to be most likely, and just the support and range deep is going to shoot damage from the sides. If I would have to theory craft this a bit,
yeah,
from Team XD's side, I would try to focus Rook first. And if it doesn't work, just completely try to ignore Rook. Destiny is very good at dealing with melees, right. The EX2 ability, right? And
exactly.
People away.
The timeout 10. Yep.
Absolutely. And then just ignore Rook and go for Iva and all Rook. If the Rook focus doesn't work. But I'm not playing. Thankfully, I wouldn't want to play against this.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play against this either. It's like, this isn't why I went to LAN. Play against this. I don't want this. I already did this online for weeks and weeks in a row. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah, indeed.
Take it away. No more Rook, please.
Thank you, SLS, for nerfing Rook again. For allowing us to watch different kind of games.
Appreciate it.
I've ordered Rook in BPL all the time. It's kind of boring.
A little variation. I haven't seen too much of Jurgen on this hero, though. It'll be interesting to see him flex to this pick. Or he has played a decent amount, correct?
Yeah, he has played a decent amount of Rook, and he's, well, he's constantly asking me to play 1v1 Rook with him. And it's very annoying. I hate 1v1 Rook. It's a game of who presses most to first. But anyways, Jurgen is a very good player. He can play melees, different kind of melees, and I think he can definitely play Rook. Maybe not as well as Crazy. I mean, Crazy is crazy. He's very good. But the playstyle is going to be different from Team Dolos now that Crazy is not playing. Hot Biscuit is substituting him, unfortunately. But still, I think Dolos is going to hold middle.
Yeah, I would agree. I think what we've seen from Dolos so far is a lot of solid play, despite their series versus right cannons, you know, not going their way. I think we have seen just so many redeeming factors about the way that they play, and it seemed like watching SSG play against Team XD a little bit earlier in the day here, one of the issues we saw is that Team XD do seem to have a bit of an issue sort of playing to their outs, you know what I mean? Grabbing middle, keeping it under control, keeping that damage going in their favor, getting that orb score up, and I don't know if there's one thing that Dolos is good at, you know, just the consistent standard play, I think, is something that can really sort of boost them ahead. Not to mention the fact that it seems as though maybe the flexibility of comps from Team XD just isn't quite there.
Yeah. Looking at the players right now, they want the game to start.
Oh, it's intense. They got to get into it. You know, these guys are chomping at the bit a little bit. They want to get going. Absolutely.
This is like the worst part as a player, waiting for your game to start. It's very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And it can definitely affect your performance in a long way.
We talked a little bit about it, you know, the sort of the psychology of being at LAN, like the idea that you're here, you know, it's physical, you're real, you're not in your bedroom with the shades down, you're, you know, half-eaten plate of chicken tenders next to your computer sitting in your pajama pants. It's a little bit different now, and I think that kind of environment brings the best out of people, but it puts other people's feet to the fire a little bit.
Oh yes, absolutely. They say that some players are able to handle the LAN experience perfectly with no issues, but there's some players who just completely fall down and cannot handle the pressure.
Yeah.
Lots of money on the line. And that can already affect your playing, how you perform in front of a crowd, audience. There's many things going on right now in the player's head.
Man, just panning over DreamHack here. It's so cool for me. I come from a place where you don't necessarily get to see stuff like this. Just walking around a little bit during the break was so interesting for me, getting to see people with their families and whatnot. Hey there.
They're waving at us. I would way back. It must be very nice to play. Just like be playing in DreamHack overall. A very nice feeling. A lot of people like who are on the same page with you, playing games and enjoying their time. And your mother lets you stay up very late.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very nice tournament. So far, I've enjoyed a lot. The games have been very good.
Last series was really interesting. You know, sitting in the audience, watching it from an audience perspective, the energy was great. I think watching Red Cannons in particular has been a really fun experience to see how much fun those guys have up on stage. They always have smiles on their faces. They're always doing their best. It's very entertaining. They seem pretty much impervious to sort of the emotional aspect of maybe being down. It seems like they always have a chance in the series because they're always they're playing to win.
Yeah, they're playing to win.
We're going to cut to a short break right now. We'll be right back, hopefully leading into the game. Stick with us. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am, of course, Crooks here with Jolts after our slight technical break there. Get some stuff ironed out for you. We're back, and a very exciting match in store for you right now. Somebody's getting eliminated from the BPL LAN.
Yeah.
In this best of 5.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Sad to see them go.
That's the spirit of a tournament.
I mean, naturally, right?
Yeah, of course. But hey, there's always something positive. We have to think of it this way. They will have the whole time to figure out stuff, what to do in DreamHack and just explore, right?
Oh, come on. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to win, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
You want that trophy. You don't want to walk around DreamHack. Ridiculous. Not that walking around DreamHack isn't nice, but I want the big shiny cup. I don't know about you. The big shiny cup looks awfully nice.
Yeah, it's usually the journey for that, you know. How you think about it?
Absolutely. Mental state, positive mental attitude.
Yeah, PMA.
PMA, that's what
Smile.
it's all about. Exactly. Smile.
Nice.
Very nice. That's what the people want. We're giving the people what they want. Look at that. It's a shiny cup right on there. Look at that shiny cup. Unbelievable.
Well, players have been playing for a long time to try to get that. And there's still a couple of games in front of them.
For sure. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, a lot of us have been participating in the game, playing the game for a really long period of time now, since early access in, you know, the fall of 2016. And it feels like a lot of this has kind of just been building up to, you know, where we are right now, DreamHack Summer. It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of legacy, a lot of history between a lot of these players, a lot of these teams, and seeing the people who have arrived here now after some roster swaps over the course of, you know, more than a year, different team arrangements and stuff. It's very interesting to see them all here together.
Currently looking relaxed, waiting for the game. Koreans, Team XD. Well, I think they're composed. They have a very good mindset. They want to win. They want to improve, and they are taking this whole experience as full.
Absolutely. I think that was something that was interesting as I got here a day early, and I had the privilege of going to a LAN cafe with a couple of these guys, and I leaned over to Clerney and I said, you know, we're screwed, right? When we went out to go get dinner, and he was like, why is that? And then we look back and all the Koreans are still playing.
Oh, yeah.
When we're going to get dinner, and I was like, no, dude, we're done. We already lost.
They have no time to eat. When you need to play Battlerite, you play Battlerite.
Yeah, you got to play Battlerite sometimes, man. Fly halfway across the world, you got to go play Battlerite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Playing Battlerite, exactly. I like it. Smart, not too bad. Got our lovely crowd here, incredible. Good stuff.
Yeah, clap, clap, clap.
Clap, clap.
Easy clap. Oh.
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 Oh. Anyways, there's the team Dolos. We have from the left Hot Biscuit right there, right on the camera. The Notorious Ashka player. It's very beautiful.
It was an interesting matchup last game to see him go against Ruben. I think in particular that's something that's kind of been building, right? The sort of the Ashka mains from different regions. It was funny to see them match up there.
Oh yeah, and you can, well, if you lose, obviously.
Oh look, it's Grimgoon.
Oh, he's smiling.
Insane.
Grim, thanks for the tournament. So yeah, in a 1 versus 1 situation with same hero, different continent, there's a lot on stake. Your ego.
Pride.
Yeah, pride
absolutely.
and ego.
National pride, in fact.
Definitely, it's sad to see Hot Biscuit lose that, because he's my teammate, but better team won. Better team took it home, and, well, they haven't taken it home yet.
Oh, there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, there's a long way to go, but based on the what they did against Dolos, they definitely have a chance to do it.
Oh, I think so. I think in particular, you know, we keep going back and stressing the interesting nature of the comps that Ren Cannons were running, and I think a lot of teams, you know, they haven't quite cracked the code yet. It was interesting sitting in the audience with the SSG players, and that's all they're talking about, is how do we crack that? What is this? What is this puzzle? How do we solve this Rubik's Cube of a comp between the Blossom and the Older, or everything else that they've run, sort of that triple range comp that seems so effective even in a meta where a lot of people have kind of decided that triple range is kind of difficult. You don't get any orbs. You got to cower in your spawn the entire time. You don't get to be a manly man with a melee player and run at the enemy team, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. It shouldn't work on paper, but it does. Maybe it's a Thorn. Maybe it's a Thorn what enables everything, the full defensive capabilities what the comp has. We saw Thorn EX pacing away. His teammates helping them all the time. It's like 3 supports basically, if you think about it.
The stall factor.
Very hard to play against.
Ridiculous.
And, they're going to be against Space Station Gaming.
Yes.
It's going to be a very interesting match. I wonder if Space Station Gaming is going to be able to solve the Rubik's Cube and find out the solution, how to beat double support comp.
I think you know, we've seen the various combo comps be so effective against that double support, you know, trying to get your damage in when you really can, hitting hard whenever possible, and I think that's something that SSG have proven, you know, they're very capable of doing, and I think as long as they can nail down the picks going into that Red Cannons game, that'll be a very interesting sort of development, but
yeah,
I don't know, just focusing on this game, I mean, it's difficult to call already, but I can't help but think Dolos, especially with their ability to adapt, play quite a lot of different things. You know, we've seen Jurgen and Hot Biscuit rotate the melee and range roles quite frequently. I think the way that they do that gives them definitely a heads up on the Korean team in many ways.
Oh yeah, and it's very rare to see players switch roles like that. Hot Biscuit being range player going into melee, it must be very, very strange for you to play, especially in a tournament setup, in a LAN. Just completely playing a different role what you've been playing for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I mean, what was your experience like doing that? Because you're a player that was previously a DPS that sort of ended up in a support role for most of your BPL run.
So it was very hard. It took a long time to understand the game because the game itself like changed for me.
Yeah.
When you change to a completely different role, you gotta track your teammates' cooldowns and enemy cooldowns.
Yeah.
And I would say, not gonna brag or anything, but played melee, range, and support. I would say the support actually might be the hardest role to play properly because there's so much things going on. Your opponents and your teammates, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. You've just got so many factors to just think about at all times. And like you said, sort of managing your teammates as well as the enemies is something that's incredibly important from that role. I mean, how do you feel like the relationship between sort of Clerney and his two teammates here, Hot Biscuit and Jurgen, how do you feel like Clerney has been sort of adapting his picks around his teammates? Because we saw him try to flex to things like Ulrich, and it didn't look quite as effective. Is that mainly down to the comp that Red Cannons ran last game? And do you think there's an option for Clerney to flex around to a couple of different picks here?
Definitely, if he keeps going older, I guess that's fine. To just like poke the eyes and see how it's gonna go.
Right.
Clerney can play everything. Like he can play everything else except Pestils, and he has a very big superhero pool. It's just what he's the most comfortable playing with. I think everything what he plays as support will be good for the team. But like Hot Biscuit and Jurgen combo as players. Jurgen is a very good player in adapting and giving commands on who to focus and when to focus. Right now, let's go. Collab.
Oh, exciting. The lights are out at DreamHack. Finally. Feels like we're in it now, Jolts.
Oh, we have lights.
Serious time.
Yeah, it's serious time. Finally, the lights went out. It's beautiful. All the computer screens. And that's me.
We're going to cut to a short break. Once again, resolving some technical issues. We'll see you in a minute. Hey everybody, welcome back. We're here, of course, DreamHack Summer Battlerite. BPL LAN Finals elimination match. We're back after a couple of difficulties. We should be getting into the game very soon. The lights are out of DreamHack. Everything feels a little bit more serious in here.
Absolutely, yeah.
A little bit darker, a little bit more sinister.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. This is amazing. Amazing.
For sure. And it feels like history in sort of an alternate way is going to be made here as the first team is going to be knocked out of the BPL LAN Finals here after this best of 5. Pretty intense game. We have the draft, of course, through. It is going to be Rook Iva Older on the side of Dolos, a comp from a couple of weeks ago that we saw be incredibly dominant throughout North America and Europe. And then, of course, on the side of Team XD, you've got Destiny, Paloma, and Freya, a comp that they've run before, to a reasonable amount of success. They've looked fairly strong despite the heavy competition they were against earlier in Space Station Gaming.
Yeah, indeed. I think Team XD is definitely going to take a couple games.
You think so?
Maybe it's possible. The guys, they actually analyze everything what they do.
Yeah.
And they're the type of players who actually get good very quickly. They improve extremely fast. And maybe they do.
A hope and a dream. There's a chance.
I always believe in the underdogs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've had a couple of those underdog stories here already, so it's very exciting to
absolutely
do that. And we're going to get into the game right now. Team Dolos versus Team XD. Game 1. Yeah.
Three, two, one.
All right,
Round
getting
1.
right into it. I'm so excited here. We see Dolos, of course, approaching the map very strong. Starting with that boulder throw on Rook is going to buy them a lot of space early, I think.
It is Jurgen just pushing in. He's definitely pressuring up and pushing Team XD into their spawn. And that's what this comp does. It has a lot of damage, a lot of pressure. And he's doing it like he should be, just go in. But Team XD is doing a very good job just pushing him away. Not hitting the counter. It's very nice.
Yeah, they've managed to deny him fairly well early on, but look at that older energy farm already. They have the ultimate to bail him out of a tough situation. Jurgen going to channel that M2 onto Iknip there, and he takes a decent amount of damage, but once again, Dolos are going to be able to confirm yet another orb. Feels like the Korean team is really struggling to get into the middle to actually try and lock down those orbs. As, again, we see the strength of this comp. Clerney from the backline just whamming people with those older M1s over and over again. The energy farm is nuts. He already has another ultimate on deck.
Oh, yeah. And meanwhile, just Jurgen taking a lot of damage. But look, the ultimate coming out the damage from the Dolos. Wow.
Damn. It looked so textbook. That easy cleanup. 2 older ults in already at this point in the game, and the cleanup there was just so tight. The punish on Freya, very nice. The Rook ultimate's going to come out, try and confirm a kill. They're not going to be able to find anything off of it directly, but the rest of his teammates are soon to follow. And that's going to be round 1 for Dolos there. Fairly straightforward. And like you said, felt like Jurgen just entered the enemy backline and never came out. They didn't really have a solution to push the Rook back. They were managing to, at one point, with the Destiny to shove him off, you know, with the wall, with the threat of that M2, bouncing him away with the Destiny space knockback. But after that, they just couldn't keep him out.
Yeah, Jurgen took a lot of damage at one point, extremely a lot of damage, and but then he just got older ultimated in the full collapse, and it worked out perfectly for them. They were able to get the kill, and just win the round.
Absolutely. I think in particular, you know, we see Hot Biscuit, the utility of Iva wasn't necessarily even needing to be used in that game. I didn't see any super meaningful tasers or anything like that. They had a lot of difficulty alone just with the Rook. So I think in the future, you know, Team XD are really going to have to focus on sort of keeping Jurgen out of their backline, stopping that from happening. It is very difficult. I think one thing they can do, aggressively pressuring with that Freya, threatening the counter so that Rook, you know, doesn't want to charge, doesn't want to M2. I think the positioning of the Freya here is going to be very important because in general, wouldn't you say Freya has a relatively favorable matchup into Rook in a lot of circumstances, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of iframes and counter. There's not much Rook can do against Freya. Every time Rook presses most 2, Freya should press some sort of a button to dodge the most 2.
Mm-hmm.
The matchup is very heavily in Freya's favor.
3,
absolutely.
2,
Getting in round 2 already after a very dominant first round from Dolos. A pretty standard approach to the map. Jurgen threatening the charge, doesn't manage to bait any abilities out of it. The Destiny going to attempt to go in. Nice counter hit by him as well is going to allow them to take some pressure off, but a great iframe into a counter by Jurgen. And look at this rook pressure already forcing an other side out of Paloma. And this should leave the Korean team so far in the back foot. Look at that. The rook aggression just following up directly off of that other side. But another great counter by Iknep. Going to deny some of that pressure, but the entire time, Hot Biscuit just farming away, threatening that taser. Nice knockback on rook as well, but this is going to be another situation where Jurgen wants to go in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They are dealing so much damage together and just forcing other side on one target and switching to another. Meanwhile, look at the in-cap. So much value out of it. Meanwhile, just dealing a lot of damage to Freya.
Jurgen just puts 2 players from Team XD just in the timeout zone. You're not playing the game. We're just going to beat the hell out of your teammate there. The Paloma ultimate's going to go off, but the older ultimate is there to save him as he goes aggressive on Destiny. The other side is blown as well, but it doesn't look like Dolos are going to find too much ability, but another double in-cap from Jurgen. What's the follow-up going to be? The Boulder armor break, good enough. Hot Biscuit following up with some damage. The Destiny ultimate goes up, but doesn't get too much value, and he's just going to get tractor beam stunned. Unfortunately, the counter gets hit, and they are going to bail him out with the other side as well. Team XD trying desperately to reset here. They're going to get decent damage on Jurgen as well. They've got to be careful. Dolos are trying to play aggressive, but they've taken some heat in the process.
Destiny is just so far gone, taking a lot of damage, other side being down. The pressure is insane from Dolos. It's very hard for Team XD to actually deal with this. But they're doing a decent job. We can see Jurgen being quite a low HP, but so is Pinky.
They're doing a good job sort of staying together as a team. The other side has been used. Destiny out of cooldowns. He only has the counter, and there goes a kill onto the Freya. I can't believe they managed to take out the Freya before they managed to take out the Destiny. Those kills did not shape up the way I thought they would, and that's 2 rounds to Dolos. Once again, we saw their orb control a little bit spotty there, as despite their control of mid, Team XD was actually able to claim 2 orbs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Dolos should be able to get the middle orbs every single round with this lineup. But still, Team XD, they're taking the orbs. Good plays.
We saw them do that a little bit in their series against SSG. Even in the most dire circumstances, it seemed like they were still able to sneak an orb out from under the table, just snatch that for themselves and keep going. It's very interesting to watch, and I think it's just sort of a virtue of their comp, either from the projectile from the Destiny counter dealing that pretty meaty amount of damage that allows you to confirm an easier orb. Destiny M2, I think a variety of things allows them, especially things like the Wolf Bounce. I think I've seen Clarinet take an orb here and there from a Wolf Bounce just alone.
Oh yeah. And that is something what you get used to when you just play a hero long enough.
Yeah.
You know that the bounce is going to be this range and it's going to do this much damage, and I'm going to get it with that. I've actually seen a clip of Avers getting enemy Jumong getting the middle orb with the EX1 ability, the Seeker's Arrow. It's bouncing.
Polishing it off for 6 damage. We're going into a 3rd round here. Dolos already looking relatively strong against the side of Team XD, and once again, we see Jurgen doing his thing. Not too surprising. The Rook goes in, eating meat, doesn't get his counter hit though, and that's going to cut some of his tempo. He doesn't actually manage to get an in-cap off either. You can see him kind of doing the tilt spin here as he's actually been managed to be denied this round.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Freya took a lot of damage. The Chrono was very, very big. He was able to deflect the Wolf back to Team XD. And especially with the most one, Paloma's most one, Soul Bolt, applies a debuff. And if applied on 2 players, they will share the damage. It's very good.
It's definitely a lot that stacks up. Now Jurgen, once again, trying to buy his team some space, but look at those massive chunks they're taking out of his HP. He's able to get on a Paloma, but he's scared of the panic, so he doesn't quite want to go in. The orb is going to go to Dolos. The Destiny ultimate comes out for some decent damage, decent value. He's playing very aggressively off of that. I love it. They're going to drop the Paloma ultimate again on the Rook. He manages to iframe it, but he's out of cooldowns. He's holding his counter so desperately. They don't hit the counter as well, and they're going to finish off the kill on Jurgen. Very clean.
Very clean and beautiful collapse from Team XD, and that's what they need to do.
Absolutely. I think they started playing around the Rook a lot better, and you talked a little bit about how these guys, they're very hungry, they're very ready to adapt to any given situation, and I love the way that you could tell they went into this round, they were like, Rook is a problem, what can we do about him? And it felt like they dedicated so much more effort to stopping the Rook there.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Jurgen might be a bit baffled, and I'm very, very surprised that Team XD this fast was able to find a solution. Yeah. Now they have the ball.
Now, yeah, and it's really, you said it best, it's like, it's sort of up to them. I feel longer series like these have sort of a tempo to them. You know, if you can get a win, where do you take it from there? How do you adapt that win and getting more rounds for yourself? It's very interesting. And I think they've already shown that they're capable of punish. They're capable of grinding out these games a little bit more. They definitely seem to like to take rounds a little bit longer than Dolos do. They thrive on being able to have a couple of orbs come up, maybe be able to sneak a couple even despite the massive pressure of Dolos.
Yeah, that's very true. I agree with you completely. And right now, I would see that Dolos has to think and find a solution on how to deal with the Jürgen dying.
Yeah.
Is Jürgen going to play defensively, maybe? Is he going to go overly aggressive with the team? I guess we will find out.
I think one of the biggest things we've seen with this Rook Iva older comp is that we've seen that, you know, the three characters just coordinate with each other so well. The way that they balance their abilities around each other, they can really play off of each other incredibly strong. And I think one weakness of Dolos that we saw in that round there was it felt like they got a little bit split up. You know, Jürgen in particular felt like he was outside of line of sight over that wall on Scouring Knight there. He was a little bit split from his teammates. They couldn't quite give him the resources he wants. And this comp really shines when Iva and Rook in particular are able to sort of get on the same target to coordinate their abilities. You get an Iva taser stun into all of the Rook follow-up. You set up, you pull people back towards your team with that tractor beam so that the Rook can just beat their faces in.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. I'm expecting Team XD to keep this going. They have the ball. Yeah, they have the ball.
Oh, Jolts.
They're playing dodgeball right now.
Man of controversial predictions, I'll tell you that.
I told you I have the crystal ball down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I will not show it to you, though.
That's why you had such a big suitcase. You didn't travel light.
Expensive. Travel
expensive.
heavy.
Especially. Well, you gotta expect it. Bringing the face of Battlerite out, you know, it doesn't come cheap.
1.
Beautiful face. All right, here we have a round 4. Starting off strong, Jürgen's just throwing boulders, and he's actually just gonna go in. He's actually gonna go in, but meanwhile, look at these Freya taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's having a very difficult time sort of surviving the backline of Dolos. There we go. There's some of that coordination between the Iva and Rook we were talking about there. I love Ignip's place of that Plasma Bolt with Destiny is going to block them out, deal quite a bit of area of effect damage here. Nice M2 from Jürgen is going to dodge a lot of damage as well. The follow-up with the Boulder. Destiny lacking a lot of cooldowns here. They're going to go in with the aggressive Boulder ultimate. They weren't able to quite reach. The Palm ulti comes out as nice, keeps him topped off, keeps him healthy as Dolos is just going to reset. Once again, objective gamers, they're going to be looking for this orb control. We'll see if they can manage to take it. This is big. And blue team actually manages to snag that one. That's a huge tempo game for them.
Absolutely. They are controlling the game right now. It feels like Freya taking still a lot of damage. The ultimate coming off, but Jürgen is able to just dodge that. You should never use Freya ultimate if enemy has escapes. You want to deal the damage.
Yeah, and it feels like they didn't even get too much by forcing cooldowns with that as Dolos kind of hang out. Rook counter gets hit, which means he can sort of go in a little bit. Clarny manages to confirm the orb with just the older M1s. Jürgen, once again, going to be able to farm a little bit of energy, do some damage. Nice panic there by Clarinet is going to get the Rook off of him. As in the backline, Clarny and Hot Biscuit seem to have complete control over Hisgrim on the Freya. He's taking so much damage. They managed to evade the counter as well, but Jürgen, very low, is going to have a tough time getting in the future.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Jürgen's just being completely alone in the back. He has no counters. He goes down. He goes down.
That's textbook. I feel like one thing about Rook, you know, we've seen Rook be incredibly powerful, but Rook, at the end of the day, is very flowcharty. You know, you have that M2 as an iframe available on command. You also have that counter, of course, an incredibly powerful tool. Yeah. To sort of allow him to continue his onslaught and play aggressively. And then, of course, the space, the rush in to reposition. And if you're caught, you know, with no M2, if you don't have your counter proc, a lot of the time you just sit there sort of doing that tilt spin with your mouse that we saw. It's like, what am I supposed to do? I feel like there's that sort of dead time in your flowchart where you don't really have too much that you can get done.
That's when you tape down your EX1. You just keep eating.
Just
eat.
I hope the meat saves me. Get me out of here, exactly. I just want to eat, stay alive.
Rook players' keyboard's #1 is usually broken.
3.
They're just mashing that the entire time.
All the time. All right, here we have round 5. Again, the same. It looks like the same start as like the last round. Jürgen trying to bait out stuff with canceling space there. No other side, no Freya. This is the time when they need to collapse and not sit back. And here we can see actually Hot Biscuit going in with Iva. That's very rare to see a defensive player like him to space in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you mentioned it here. We're seeing, again, a little bit of a scattered round from Dolos here. We don't see too much opportunity for Hot Biscuit and Jurgen to really get on the same target. I like the follow-up there, and they're not able to trigger the bubble from Destiny as well. I love the older bubble placement, too. On top of that, Clarinet ults, they do manage to catch Iva with a little bit of Freya damage here as they're having a lot of trouble. Dolos actively getting pushed back here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I saw some nice combos coming out from Team XD and perfectly predicted space location from his gun. Oh wow, beautiful ultimate from Destiny, but right now Destiny's in a very bad spot. He's gonna get punished.
I think that's the biggest consequence of Destiny. You can look for those big playmaking opportunities, but you can end up in such a bad situation. Here comes Jurgen with the smack. The in-cap is going to lead to quite a lot of damage along with that boulder. Tries to body block the M2, but isn't able to successfully do that, and I love the shield perch. A double stun by Jurgen, I think, gets a lot of damage and a lot of CC. The Destiny counter is going to get hit. Nicely timed Paloma ultimate as well is going to discourage any aggression from Dolos. They're just going to back up, take the orb.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In a way, if Dolos wants to win this, they might need to just play slow and find the opportunity. Since enemy team is also low, this goes for both ways. If you just be patient and find a way to deal the needed 70 damage.
Speaking of patience, I feel like that Rook ultimate was a little bit preempted there. He only got one swing off of it, didn't quite earn the pressure he wanted. Pisgrim, a little bit out in the middle of nowhere. He's holding onto his counter, but doesn't have a whole lot of iframes. I love the other side timing there. Saves Pinky from what would have otherwise been certain death. Channeling those M2s, nicely timed counter as well, gets him out of some trouble. What will the Rook follow be able to do? The taser comes out from Iva, gets the stun, but they aren't able to actually capitalize on that.
Oh yeah, and these tractor beams are doing a lot of work, as we can see. But Clarinet is awake with those other sides, keeping teammates alive. Beautiful plays.
Yeah, Hot Biscuit's been putting in so much work with the tractor beam. I feel like he's single-handedly sort of keeping his team in this round. As long as Jurgen gets his counter hit here, and now as the circle closes, this is going to heavily favor Dolos. You're forced to fight Rook in close quarters on his terms. The Destiny bubble comes out. He's going to be able to confirm with the orb, but that very, very smart play by Pinky. Going to try and knock Hot Biscuit out, but it's not going to work. And the Korean team is low on cooldowns. They're going to manage to take the Destiny out here. I think as long as Jurgen is okay, doesn't get bursted here by the Paloma and the Freya, they should be fine. M2s. The Freya ultimate textbook here. Now it's a 3v1 in favor of Dolos. The circle's closing. It looks like they get another round on the board.
Oh yeah, the barbecue was very good from Iva, just able to flamethrower through the counter. There's nothing what Destiny can do. There's not enough shields to keep alive.
Absolutely.
Very nicely played from Dolos. They played defensively. I was able to just get the needed damage out to kill and close the kill. Very nicely played. And Team XD is playing good too. They are very nice. Very nice. They are very nice. They are very nice.
Very nice.
They are very nice. They're playing very well together and falling back when needed. And it's high-level Battlerite.
Yeah, managing Rook is no small task, and they seem to be doing a very good job of it. I like how they're altering their start a little bit as well, posting up behind that wall, getting the shield, denying sort of that Rook bubble. Jurgen going to try and go in, but so far he's not able to find really any positioning, but a good chunk of damage on Freya. Look at that. And a well-timed other side. Clarinet recognized. He's got to get his teammate out of there.
Oh, yeah. This tractor beam is going to be big. Right now, Destiny has nothing. They are actually collapsing on Freya, and Freya taking so much damage here, and the ultimate coming off from Older. I think that was a very aggressive ultimate. What had really no purpose of
absolutely. I think maybe a little bit of a misuse by Clarny, but now we see Dolos once again doing the standard play, just sort of reconvening, but the Rook counter doesn't get hit. He's used his M2 as well. They have no tools, and he's down once again. Just look at that. They're reading the Rook ability usage just so much better. It seems as Joe Jurgen just finding himself in more and more situations where he's a little bit vulnerable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, not a little bit vulnerable. Yeah. Vulnerable enough to put him 6 feet underground.
Yeah, absolutely. Stick the hole. They're the gravekeepers. With Team XD.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyways, like overall, they are doing a very good job at punishing Rook when Rook has nothing.
Yeah.
And that's basically what you need to do. Even though Rook might be very good still, they are playing very well just by not letting Rook do what Rook needs to do. Damage, heal, damage, heal.
I think an issue in particular is just once again the participation of Hot Biscuit in these fights, the way that Hot Biscuit and Jurgen need to be working around each other to really set up favorable situations for themselves. It's just not quite there yet. It seems like something that they're really sort of trying to figure out desperately against this Korean team here, as Team XD is actually going to tie this up 3-3. This is a close game, Jolt.
It is a very close game. I actually did not expect this in the end. Like overall, Dolos is crowd favorite, but as I said earlier, these guys, Team XD, they gave a fight to SSG, Space Station Gaming. They can definitely do this.
Oh, for sure. They showed such good team coordination with a lot of different comps that I would never count them out. And I think in particular the way they use what they play. They may not play a large variety of things, but the way they sort of utilize the comps they're familiar with is quite nice.
Oh yeah. Again, Jurgen just going in, but beautiful stun coming out from Hot Biscuit. Other side. Right now, Jurgen is alone in the corner, but the Zap is able to just help him dispel stuff. So look at Destiny.
Yeah, Ignip, it just feels like he's putting on so much work. They've denied a lot of Hot Biscuit's presence, but still Dolos sitting with a pretty significant HP advantage. Look at that taser hit. Really nice play by Hot Biscuit, catching him, pressing a button. Hisgrim is taking a decent chunk of HP. Jurgen with a nice M2. Dolos are trying to push forward, but Jurgen doesn't have a whole lot of tools at his disposal. Bit of a late shield by Hot Biscuit as well, and they're going to try and retreat. Nice bubble by Clorny as well is going to keep shutting them out as the orb comes up. This should belong to Dolos. Interesting Paloma ultimate there. Is going to be able to confirm it. Nicely played by Clarinet. Look at that. His third eye is opening there, dropping that F button, confirming the orb.
Second Dash Gensher, what we saw today coming out. Meanwhile, just Pinky taking a lot of damage and the older ultimate hitting Destiny. They're dealing a lot of damage here, the Dolos boys, but they still have a lot of health left, the Team XD, and who's gonna get the middle of? Oh, Dolos. That's very big at this point of the game when you can see the team health being very even, actually. 50%, 50%.
It's huge. I love the way they played around the other side. They're trying to follow up immediately off of what Ignip was doing. The older ultimate, unfortunately, from Clorny, not going to get a whole lot of value as once again, Jurgen trying to go in. Hisgrim desperately trying to build a little bit of energy, deal some damage. The orb is up again. Hot Biscuit going to grab that from the side of Dolos, but Jurgen, once again, is going to get popped by Freya.
Yeah, there it is. It's a rule kill. That's all it takes. I don't know, maybe Clorny needs to hold his ultimate like for a very crucial moment, and Hot Biscuit just needs to focus on zapping him, and Jurgen should not just go in.
Yeah.
Just play patient and let enemy Freya come in and try to punish that. Maybe that's the solution. That's how I would see it.
I think above all else, just the adaptation needs to be just Hot Biscuit and Jurgen working together, because it feels a little bit scattered right now as once again Team XG gonna take another round. They're up 4-3 potential game point, first game of this best of 5. I would not have seen this coming if you had asked me how I thought this was gonna go, but it looks like sort of their coordination, their team coordination is just winning over all else.
Oh yeah, absolutely. SSG was just a warm-up game for these guys. They are gonna, they are gonna do it.
You think so? They're gonna close this one out?
This is the caster's curse, though.
Oh, the caster's curse. Oh, it's real. I've experienced it many times. One of those things.
All right, this is potentially could be the last round. Dolos versus Team XD.
I already like how Dolos is playing it. You talked a little bit about how Jurgen could play more patiently. I think he absolutely is here. Well, unfortunately, wasting his M1 here, or M2. Hot Biscuit getting hit a little bit here. Destiny counter hit as well. Jurgen's counter is not triggered, so he's in a bit of a situation here, and they're going to capitalize on him immediately. Love the usage of the Destiny R. He's going to try and retreat. Dolos is going to take the first orb as well, and Hot Biscuit in a great position to do some damage alongside Clorny. They've actually caught Destiny. The space doesn't get a whole lot of damage here, and Hot Biscuit wisely moving forward with the coordination of the older ultimate. He's not going to get other sided in time. Unfortunately, gets his counter hit, so Dolos misses a serious amount of burst.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, they're just dealing a lot of damage to Pinky here. Destiny completely being pushed away, and they just tell her, no, don't come here.
You're not allowed.
Yeah, go back. You're dealing too much damage.
Not allowed in the treehouse.
Oh wow, that EX2 on Jurgen. Oh, he got proc twice by
He got proc twice. Jurgen doesn't know what that ability does. It does the tilt spin on Rook. Unfortunately, he doesn't get his counter here as well, and this is yet another situation where, like we've talked about, Rook caught out without a whole lot of tools at his disposal, and Hot Biscuit and Clorny are trying desperately to buy him a little bit of space. Dolos somehow still with flawless orb control this entire time. Look at Rook just placed in the timeout zone there. How depressing.
Yeah, indeed. Rook sitting in the EX2, what you can do. Either get stunned or wait. Beautiful damage on, oh wow, ultimate coming out, unfortunately.
Oh.
Wow, did you see that? This...
Oh my gosh, I'm speechless, Joel. The geometry on that, the multiple bounces were so sick, but it didn't matter. They were able to clean up the kill on Paloma. In the meantime, Jurgen just living by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, that was something else. He bounced it through every wall basically.
That's
and
next
was able
level.
to stun. It's perma stun basically during the ultimate.
Those walls are tiny too. How do you plan that? That's unbelievable.
I don't know. Don't ask me. I suck in maths.
Oh.
Maths. All right. Anyways, this is the last round for sure.
Well, unless it's a draw, but yeah, 4-4. I mean, I would not have predicted either these games to be that close. I think we're in for a relatively close series here.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone all the way to 4-4. I think Dolos, you know, coming back there, it looked like they had some punish of their own for sure, trying to cover the Rook a little bit better, and we saw some slightly more passive play from Jurgen, picking his times to go in a lot more carefully, dodges the spell block, very nice, holding onto his counter still, uses the M2 as well, gets his counter proc, so he's not as afraid of that Destiny R, and they're going to keep going in, Petrify, proc by Clerney. We'll see how they can set up by this. Nicely timed Tractor Beam by Hoppus as well, and look at that bubble by Clerney, going to negate a lot of damage as Jurgen once again pushed out. They're going to want to try and play aggressive here. They're lacking a lot of cooldowns on the side of XD.
Yeah, absolutely. The Dolos has this game right now in their pocket. They're pushing Team XD away and just overly pressuring with the damage what they have. Jurgen doing good job also staying alive, and Hotbiscuit supporting him with the good shields. And Clerney, those Chrono Fluxes has been something else in this round.
Man, the way they have to disengage when Clarinet drops a Paloma ultimate like that is really quite terrifying. Ignip tries to confirm the orb and tries to get his counter hit, but misses both of those. And now Dolos has a serious opening here. Hot Biscuit mounting up, not able to re-enter the fight just yet as the rockets are going to go off. And look at that, his Grim is so low. He's got to be very, very careful. The Tractor Beam stun, not able to get off. Here comes the Rook with the boulder, gets a decent amount of damage. Clerney the entire time just pumping damage with that boulder. He's holding onto the ultimate as well. You got to think this is where Dolos is going to try and clean this one up.
Oh yeah. Meanwhile, Hot Biscuit is being alone in the corner, but thankfully he was able to zap himself out. Otherwise, he would have been Gunner. And meanwhile, just Jurgen going for the middle up and staying alive.
And this is a bit of a problem right now.
Wow.
We talked about Dolos just being split up. They're not working together too well. Jurgen trying to play this line of sight. Another double taser by Hot Biscuit. Absolutely filthy. Look at that swap. Is going to dodge the older ultimate as well. What can Dolos do? They had such an HP lead, but it's gone now, Jules.
Yeah, absolutely. This game looked like they had it in the pocket, but look at Hot Biscuit. He's gone, exactly. It's Team XD is definitely capitalizing well on the things what they see, what they have right now. They punish it. They saw Hot Biscuit being out there alone, stranded on the sea, and they're the shots.
It just seems all on the back of the fact that Dolos were so split, and now as yet another orb comes up, they have that Destiny R available, and they aren't able to take it. Dolos are going to take their fourth orb, but they're sitting low on HP, nicely timed older ultimate. However, it's not going to get anybody. They had cooldowns available. Here comes the Tractor Beam, but Hoppus, he's got to get out. He doesn't have any health, and Paloma's going to pop, and I think that's going to be it. Dolos probably going to manage to take match one here as long as the Crews can't take a stand, and they don't. Jurgen with the smack is going to clean it up. Nicely played.
That was a very nice play from Dolos right there. They saw the other side being used, and they collapsed. They collapsed, and it was very textbook. Just bait out ultimates and bait out abilities and just punish.
Absolutely. Just watching the Paloma, watching for those other side cooldowns. You know, we talked about it a little bit earlier, the concept that when Paloma other side somebody, it means a variety of things. You know, it not only means that other side down, it also means the person who didn't get other sided, very, very vulnerable.
Yes.
And the way you follow up on that just seems like the most textbook way to play against a lot of Paloma comps, and Dolos finally able to clean that one up. And I think this is going to be a big confidence boost for them. You know, we saw them going from the last series that they lost against Red Canids, a lot of really hard fought Battlerite. They're able to close this one out, learn a little bit about the enemy team, and now going into this knowing that players like Pinky, the likelihood of him flexing off of anything other than Destiny is, it seems a little bit low, yeah?
Yeah, but maybe Esmo. I don't know what will work for these boys. That was a very good game. I didn't expect that at all. But I want to go back to the Paloma for a moment.
Okay.
We were talking about after the other side, two players are vulnerable, right?
Right.
That seems to be like a weakness of Paloma, right? In the end, you are able to save someone, but then you're very exposed for danger. Maybe. Do they have something else than Paloma against that? I mean, that went well. They could keep playing the same comp and probably win, but maybe another healer would be better. What do you think?
I've seen situations like that, and I think there is something to be said in sort of this best-of-5 format when you lose a game 4-5, kind of just saying, okay, you know, it was only a 4-5, run it back. Why not? You know, we did well. It was close. It came down to the wire. We lost, and that's okay. And the comp still has redeeming values, especially in that matchup. I think that could definitely be the case here for the side of Team XD because, frankly, we saw Clarinet pick up that older in the series they played against SSG, and it just didn't look quite as effective as his Paloma. His Paloma has looked so clean, constant energy farming. We see him drop ults just so frequently over and over again. His ulti placement is very strong as well. His swaps have been great. His other sides, sometimes the timing has been a little bit off, but in general, the way that he saves his teammates, the way that he manages his teammates on the map has been very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. The plays have been very good. Seeing lots of high-level stuff, constantly swapping teammates out of ultimates. It's just overall, it's very nice to see Poloma in tournaments, because recently there hasn't been many Polomas, at least in Europe tournaments, because we feel like it's a bit of a risky pick. Just exactly because like you use your other side, you don't have much left.
Right.
But overall, it's very nice. It's very nice to see a Poloma at this level.
His playstyle is very interesting too, just with the energy farming over and over again and the aggressive and defensive ultimates. I just like seeing it a lot because as a Paloma, obviously, you know, you've got your EXQ, you've got the EX swap, but it feels like, especially with those kind of M1 healers in a very fortressy comp like the Korean team plays here, it's interesting. The rate at which you build ultimate is kind of alarming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just pushing out most ones all the time. Sometimes the best solution for enemy team, if you play against Poloma, is not to damage at all. It can work. You don't want to give a lot of energy to Poloma.
So just don't hit anybody.
Just wait it out. Keyboard. I don't know.
Wave the white flag.
Maybe that's the next meta. Don't hit any heroes.
Oh man, that sounds sounds a little questionable to cast. That'll be a difficult DreamHack to cast.
Wow, he's picking up the orange orbs now.
Oh.
Wow, they got the middle orb, but they still haven't done any damage. But everyone has ultimates. Yeah, that would be a bit too awkward.
You know, we've seen more awkward situations like Ivor Recolder.
Yeah.
It still doesn't sound as bad as Ivor Recolder, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right, we have the game ready for you. We're going to get into it.
Game 2, Team XD versus Dolos.
I'm very interested to see how this goes. We didn't get a chance to talk about the picks too much. We do have Hisgrim rotating onto that Croak that we saw him have success against SSG with before. Jurgen has picked up the Jumong Hot Biscuit on the Freya, and of course, Clerney on that Lucy. Very, very interesting comp here coming out from the side of Dolos, and I can't help but feel like Croak could be a bit of a pain for them going forward. That being said, Hisgrim getting absolutely pounded early on here.
Oh yeah, absolutely, but we have to keep in mind that Jumong is quite good against Croak. With the rain of arrows and the traps, you're just able to zone Croak out completely. But look at this. Pinky's going down very quickly.
Yeah, that punish on Pinky was absolutely brutal, and they pushed them out so hard. We are playing, of course, on Dragon Garden Day, a very sort of straight line map. I'm surprised that the draft came all the way down to this as Jurgen just going to try and go ahead, ult the orb, get that energy, no problem. I like that play from him as Hisgrim once again pushed off the enemy team, and Dolos sitting at a pretty comfortable HP total, especially since one player on the side of Team XD is dead now.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jumong is able to push out so much pressure to push enemy away from the middle, and especially being Dragon Garden Day, the game, the map itself has choke points, right? It's very hard to push out from that choke point, and if you hold the choke point, you're able to get the middle orb, the green orbs, and the orange orb, the energy orbs.
Yeah.
And you gain a lot of advantage that way.
I think it's interesting because we saw SSG in particular struggle a little bit against Team XD when they ran a Jumong themselves. You know, they ran a verse on Jumong, and that was the game that they actually managed to drop there. And I think the Croak versus Jumong matchup, it feels like, as you said, it's favored towards Jumong in a lot of ways, I think. And we've seen a lot of these very talented Jumong players have a pretty good idea by now of how to handle a Croak in your backline. I think Jurgen did a great job of handling him last round.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just completely destroying Croak in this match can bring you a win already. Just disabling 1 melee is enough, but he was able to get the stun here. Unfortunately, nothing was being done. Barrier completely stopped the damage. And Dolos got the middle orb, which means Clerney has ultimate, so after the other side, he's gonna hunt for the ultimate, he's gonna look for it, and they know no other side. No swap, now it's the time to ultimate. Unfortunately, he whiffs, but meanwhile, Destiny's
Jurgen reads the counter perfectly. You saw him flick his M1 there. He was baiting it. Iknip fell for it, and in the goo he goes. Clerney finishing him up with that full bar of energy, as you noted, and it really feels like that sort of relationship between a Lucy on one team and a Paloma on the other. You kind of watch the pattern like that. When the Paloma hits other side, you check the Lucy's energy bar. If you see that yellow bar, you pretty much know how that's going to go down.
Indeed, and especially then getting the first orb, there was no way of escaping that, and it was inevitable.
For sure. Dolos come out swinging. 2 rounds up already. Their orb control this entire time has been impeccable. It feels like they manage the middle of the map incredibly well, and the side of Team XD are having a lot of difficulty sort of pushing in particular on this map. As you said, I think you can easily get into a position where Jumong can just start to choke you out in those choke points on either side of the map.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just rain of arrows into the choke point, and you cannot push through. The slow is too much.
Clerney with the fear on the stealth Hiskrim over on the side of Team XD pushes him out of the map completely, and look at how hard Dolos are running Paloma. Just off of that, they've gained so much space, but Jurgen may have overplayed his hand a little bit. I like the prowl to get out of the range of the Destiny. Our Destiny spaces into a trap, doesn't get his counter hit as well. Ignip is so vulnerable right now, and Jurgen's just going to open up on him. Look at that huge amount of damage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As we can see, Jurgen is not extending over the choke point. He's holding it. He can see a line in his mind, which he's not going to cross. And Hot Biscuit is just like doing the stuff above the line, but he won't go too far. And they will hold the mid control here.
Absolutely, there comes the goo. He recognizes Destiny doesn't have anything. They read the counter yet again. Unfortunately, the Clarity knocks him out of the goo a little bit farther than I think Clerney had expected, but he goes right into a trap after that. And a Hot Biscuit just gonna keep the train rolling, and Destiny gets blasted down. This is looking like a third round for Dolos in a row. Much more dominating game so far.
Boom, yeah, that's the Jurgen special, Dragon Slayer. When you see him charging the Dragon Slayer, you want to dodge, but if you have nothing to use, you're dead.
60 damage.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Oh, if Clerney hasn't taken the Battlerite, the stimulant Battlerite, what increases the damage. So yeah, it's gonna be 60 damage, full charge, and stun. The stun is very big.
That's interesting. What did Clerney drop stimulant for in the Battlerite selection? Because we see often Lucy's favor that Battlerite pretty heavily. It's so high value.
Yeah. I actually had a small discussion with him about this, but I think he just said that it sucks.
That sounds like a very Clerney thing to say. I buy it. I buy that conversation happened for sure.
Good talk.
Good talk. Thank you for your game analysis, Clerney.
Wow. Just again, the choke point. It's very hard for Team XD to push through here, but okay. Hot Biscuit may force them to actually go into the middle for a moment. But the pressure is too much from just Jumong itself. But that was a lot of damage from the combo. Yeah,
that Croak Destiny follow-up just looking absolutely brutal. But look down there, Clarinet just getting his day absolutely ruined by the side of Dolos. Hot Biscuit jumping around. Look at those beefy Freya shields. They really, very difficult for them to crack true HP on him. Doesn't manage to get his counter hit. Destiny gets his counter hit, and he's going to deal a decent amount of damage as Dolos, once again, just going to try and reset for mid, I think. This is really where Jurgen can start to lay on a lot of pressure into the side of Team XD. Going to go ahead and confirm that orb. Hot Biscuit, a little bit in a dicey area here, but he had plenty of shields and HP to work with. Unfortunately, Hiskrim is going to whiff that Croak stun. Not going to be able to find it, and now they're stuck in this familiar choke yet again. Look at that.
Yeah, it's just slowly pushing them into the choke. It's very nice, but I was surprised how Hot Biscuit didn't die there. He was able to ultimate, and he got 2 hits from that. Still alive. Oh, incap. A beautiful counter from Hot Biscuit. And right now, I don't think he has anything left.
And he's finally going to go down, but the responding Lucy Goo, unfortunately, they have the other side at their disposal, so they're not going to be able to get locked down by that. Clerney trying some shenanigans with Clarity Potion, but he's not able to keep Jurgen alive either. And it's looking like Team XD are going to manage to finally take a round here.
Yeah, they might have found the solution. This game mostly for them relies on Croak incaps and stuns. And if Croak is not able to get those, there's not much XD can do.
I think one thing I saw there, I was surprised that round didn't manage to go to the side of Dolos, because if you saw in the beginning, Hot Biscuit did a great job of sort of absorbing the early aggression. It felt like he was taking so much damage on Freya, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, if you can be that damage sponge, you can create a lot of room for your teammates, and it seemed good, but I feel like over time, he just sort of got outvalued. In particular, I think Jurgen placing a lot of effort on trying to shut down the Destiny, and a lot of the time, Pinky, it felt like he just had counter available. He was able to get out of that very damaging Jumong EXM2, sort of bail him out of that rain of arrows pressure.
Yeah. Here we go, round 5, and instantly going for the stun into the silence from Destiny. That was a lot of damage, but the damage is going to be on support, which in the end doesn't matter that much, since most of the time you're going to fight the DPSs.
Man, and they're doing a much better job denying Hot Biscuit in the same way that it felt like they were learning a little bit more about how to stop the rook pressure. Look at that cancel by Ignip. That's huge. Jurgen can't get the easy confirm on the orb. They still get the orb anyways, but he's forced to use a lot more resources. He's still sitting on that ultimate, but doesn't necessarily see an opportunity to use it. Now he's going to see an opportunity to use it. Knocks Ignip back a little bit. The damage isn't huge, but here comes the Hot Biscuit follow-up. The Croak stun going to try and slow down some of the pressure of Dolos, but they're not quite able to work them off. Dolos taking quite a bit of damage, though. Clerney desperately just trying to keep them topped off from the back as Jurgen's going to get aggressed on by Croak. The follow-up is nice as well, though. The EXM2 does so much damage, and his run gets discouraged a little bit. Hot Biscuit going to be able to iframe out of the Paloma ultimate.
Oh yeah, this is looking very good for Team Dolos. Now, even though they are losing health, they don't have, well, right now they have more health, but just a moment ago they had a bit less. They are in the spot where they want to be. Jurgen just shooting from the side, and Hot Biscuit pressuring forward. Still, Pink is doing a good job trading with Jurgen and forcing him kind of a defensive.
In particular, I love his use of the Destiny Wall there to stop a lot of Jurgen's M1s from fully going through. That's a bit of a questionable Lucy Goo by Clerney.
Wow.
The Frey ultimate's going to come out, but not really do any damage. And Dolos, once again, have pushed them off, but weren't able to confirm a kill, even with those two big ultimates, which is a little surprising.
Oh, yeah. There was the window of to kill Poloma there, but unfortunately they weren't able to collapse. There was too much stuff in the way. And look at that. Clarinet just taking the middle off with the wall. Very nice.
And it seems like Team XD almost being able to inch into this a little bit more. We see another classic Clarinet Paloma ultimate come out, but Hot Biscuit still trying to go deep. Jurgen on the backline, still trying to deal with Croak. Recognizes that there's no cooldowns. A nicely placed other side there, but it's going to leave Team XD open to a lot of other horrible things that Hot Biscuit's going to be able to do here. The follow-up from the Destiny are going to do good damage. Look at that collapse by Hot Biscuit, but he's taking a lot of damage. Has no counter available now as they try to bail Destiny out with the other side. Look at that combo on Jurgen, and they actually managed to make a kill happen there off of the Croak stun into Destiny M2.
Yeah, it's strange. They are being pushed away from the middle, but they're still able to turn it back.
Unbelievable round. 4 orbs for Dolos, and they aren't able to clean it out. There's a part of me that can't help but think maybe they played into it a little bit too aggressively there.
Oh, yeah. Man, this is exciting to see. Team XD being on the defense and winning rounds and losing middle orbs. But it might have been that one small orb what Clarinet was able to take with the Wolf to turn it around.
I don't know, man. You lose a round like that, and it just seems so rough, right? You did everything. You confirmed the orb over and over again, but you just weren't able to crack that wall. Even though Croak was running around with no HP for such a long period of time, they just weren't able to confirm a kill at the end.
Yeah, that's very true. But right now, Pinky has nothing, and you can see how Dolos knows. Pinky has nothing. He used to counter, he used base. They're pushing forward, and look at this Croak just getting punished by Hot Biscuit. It doesn't matter if you're stealthy.
Man, Hot Biscuit just going in.
He has integrated wall hacking.
He really does. It's like in the Matrix, you know, Neo, he sees the code. Hot Biscuit sees the code, doesn't need his eyes necessarily. Croak goes in with the stun. They're aggressing onto Jurgen really hard. Throws the Jumong ulti just to get Clarinet off of him. The aggressive Paloma play is really something else here as Clerney putting an immense amount of pressure on Ignim. He has no counter now. Hot Biscuit is set up with the incap. They have no other side as well. They're going to try and see if Dolos can make anything happen here, but they really aren't able to. Between the Paloma panic and the fact that the side of Team XD is still relatively healthy, Jurgen caught away from his teammates, manages to iframe the Croak setup as Hot Biscuit finally confirms a kill on Clarinet.
Yeah, this has been quite a textbook Battlerite round. Just full collapsing after cooldowns being used. Hot Biscuit chasing Croak and kind of like stopping Croak on his tracks. Don't let him do whatever he wants.
I will say it makes me a little concerned though, because in some of these rounds it seems as though Dolos, they really are quite split. We saw Jurgen up at the top there while Hot Biscuit was going for a kill at bottom. I almost feel like a lot of the synergy we saw with these guys before isn't so much here, and it's something that I feel like they need to push a lot harder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It can also be the lack of just players not practicing enough, and just some players, they don't play well together. Unfortunately, that's how it is. You gotta kind of like click with your teammate to know it works. All right, potentially the last round. What do you think?
I think Dolos has looked strong already. I think the map favors them, especially with his Jumong pick. If they're able to work Team XD into this corner, they're not going to make the same mistake they did a round ago, you know, where they threw away a pretty long war of attrition there. I think a longer round definitely favors them in a lot of ways, and so far they've done a great job denying the Croak. They're going to continue to do that here. Jurgen just firing M2s over and over again. He's gone the extra damage. He wants to try and land those. The orb is going to be big here, and it is going to go to Dolos pretty classically here. Hot Biscuit in the backline. He has no abilities, and the Clarinet, he's forced to use his ultimate defensively as an iframe, but gets good damage. The other side, unfortunately, Jurgen's not going to be able to net anything with the Jumong ulti, and the goo from Clerney is really just a zoning goo.
Yeah, that was a zoning goo, but zoning. But overall, like, it wasn't that bad. Like, even if he whiffed the ultimate there, can definitely be used as a defensive ability, just moving behind the goo and not letting enemy come to you. It's very nice. You can see Hot Biscuit just pushing forward, no other side, and they know about this. But meanwhile, Croak is just laying down. Simply death.
Wow. I actually love that. I think a great thing about his Grim there is he wasn't hesitant to just hold down his M1 button. You know, we saw Hot Biscuit do that, do a really brutal amount of damage to the enemy team as that melee hero. I think Croak is definitely able to do that too. You know, you press R, you get that initial damage, and you just go in really hard, but they're going to be able to find a kill on Clarinet. That's huge.
But Clerney has nothing.
Hot Biscuit doing so much work, but it's not going to matter, you're right.
He has the orb. This is actually one of the Dolos' tactics. You die and you give your energy to Hot Biscuit and he's going to carry you.
I've seen the clip. I've seen the clip myself. He's not playing Ashka though, so it's a little bit dicey.
Oh yeah, that's true.
If he was playing Ashka, I'd be much more concerned about the triple ultimate and win the round anyways.
He would do the V.
It's all about the pattern.
Yeah.
You need a formation. You need a strategy.
It wasn't the last round. Team XD fighting back. It's very nice to see. Some very nice Croak plays. Completely just disabling one hero and going for another for big damage.
Yep.
And we saw Jurgen just going down in the corner. Wasn't able to get out thanks to Croak.
Despite the comp of Dolos, it seems like the Croak is still finding quite a lot of ability to be effective here. I like the barrier on Hot Biscuit, going to deny a lot of damage. Clerney, unfortunately, is going to whiff the fear, and they're going to disengage with the other side. So now Dolos should have a real opportunity to play aggressively here. Pinky, in particular, they whiff the stun, actually, so there's no pressure on the side of Dolos. Like the flick, the M2 from Jurgen. Going to focus on that. He has an ultimate already, and a nice counter by Pinky. He's going to catch it at the very end here. Now Jurgen being pushed off pretty heavily by Destiny as Hot Biscuit is going to reset, try and just stick on the same target as him. Pinky, of course, trapped yet again. You've got the pesky Croak in your backline. Clerney lands a fear. They're not going to be able to capitalize on it too much. The Destiny ultimate comes out for some decent value, and the Plum ultimate is actually going to split up all of Dolos, and they're pushed back. Once again, it feels like Team XD has a significant HP advantage. That being said, Dolos getting all the orbs.
Yeah, but Clerney has ultimate. He's gonna try to wait for the other side and swap and throw it out, or just throw it out and just pressure. Meanwhile, after you force some stuff out, and actually Destiny was standing in quite a lot of time in the ultimate. And look at Jurgen just popping off as a pop-off if something.
Beautifully played. I was a little bit worried about Hot Biscuit there down at the bottom. Didn't have a whole lot of HP to deal with, but then I remembered he was Freya, and I saw him sitting on 40 damage worth of shields as Jurgen was charging that ultimate, and a pretty textbook closeout from Dolos. Classic Jurgen ultimate, looking for that huge 60 damage swing, a nice punish, and they're going to close out that game in a slightly more convincing fashion than they did previously. 5-3. It still looked somewhat promising for Team XD at various points, but ultimately Dolos able to close out another one.
Yeah. But Team XD, they played well. They adapted and they found solutions and was able to take 3 rounds, even though the matchup comp-wise doesn't look favorable to them.
I think in particular the map there for Dolos was a bit of an interesting choice. Dragon Garden Day definitely fits their comp in a lot of ways. You see Jumong, being very good at controlling space there, especially that choke at the very entrance of the map. It felt like Team XD had a very difficult time breaking in, despite the fact that Pinky's usage of sort of that Destiny, the plasma wall, has been so good so far. He's been denying projectiles. Seems like a very difficult range player to play against, and he seems very experienced at denying other range players as well. With that pick, the way he sort of occupies space, threatening the counter, threatening the wall. Jurgen was having a very difficult time playing around that early, but I feel like they're sort of finding the solution over and over again, and I think in the same way that they closed this one out a round earlier, I would have to say I would favor Dolos to maybe clean this one up in a 3-0, maybe after a couple of rounds taken in the next game, but they look a lot stronger, and they look like they've sort of caught a second win after being knocked into the lower bracket a little bit earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. The boys are adapting, for sure, and finding out ways how to beat this team, how to improve, and just picking the right heroes, what works for them. It's very nice to see that both teams are adapting all the time, figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and I would expect maybe we are not going to see Croak now. Maybe they're going to go back to Freya. It works quite well, so why not try it again? I don't know how big of a hero pool Team XD has.
Yeah.
But if they stick with Freya, I think that could definitely work. And Jurgen just Jumong, phenomenal, very good.
I like his big punishes. I think that it's very exciting to watch him play Jumong because he is a player that is absolutely willing to go for, the big ulti usage, the big Dragon Slayer. Those are the moments everybody remembers. The big flick for 60 damage, catching somebody out, and kind of this stare down. You're wondering who he's going to fire it at when he senses that you have no cooldowns. Very exciting to watch.
Yeah, I've got you on my side.
Is that the right voice line?
I don't know. It's
high noon. Yeah. Oh, that's not the right one. The scuffed one.
Yeah.
I like it. It just makes for exciting moments, and watching ults like that come out is always entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we are, moving on. It's going to be very good, as always. High-level Battlerite.
And they're going to be running it back, exact same comps. That's interesting. So Team XD just feels like maybe the map is different. This time we could play it a little bit differently. I do like the Croak. I think I actually disagree with you on that. I think the Croak I like a little bit better than the Freya. It seemed like they had more promise. It felt like they have more focus when they play Croak. You know what I mean? They understand what they need to do to win a little bit better when they play Croak. And maybe there are some adaptations they can make. Blackstone Day definitely doesn't have as much of a sort of a brutal choke as Dragon Garden Day does.
Yeah, obviously Dragon Garden Day, a big choke point, but Blackstone Day, It's completely open, unless you get pushed into the corner, but that's your own fault. Don't go
absolutely.
there. Back to your base if needed, and you have a lot of room, and that's what Croak needs. In a choke point, it's very easy to spot where Croak actually is.
Yeah.
So
we saw Hot Biscuit in particular do a great job of sort of reading Croak's exact movements that entire time, just hitting him with those M1s over and over again while he was in stealth, pulling him in with that E, nailing him with hammers. Like the pressure from Hot Biscuit has been really intense. I feel like we haven't talked about him as much, but it's been quite good. It's been enjoyable to watch his Freya.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Different kind of a Freya for sure. And full-time range player going to melee, still performing extremely well. It's a very nice player. You know that the player is good when they're able to switch roles like this.
Okay, we're headed into the game. Gonna stop you there. Next game coming up right now. And
3, 2, 1.
Here we go, let's go.
Here we go, we're into it. This is the third game between Dolos and Team XD. This could be determining who is the first team to get eliminated from the BPL LAN finals. A strong start by Dolos as they're gonna just push them out. Jurgen more than willing to channel just those regular M2s, though I like the R usage there from Pinky to push him off pretty heavily. Now Dolos reconvening at the top side of the map a little bit after pushing Hisgrim off. I like the trap placement as well, and Destiny just running into those one after another as Clerney gonna be able to confirm the orb with a heads up M1.
Oh yeah, this big damage coming out from Team XD, just completely collapsing. 3 players hitting 1 target, just very beautiful. Beautiful to see. And again, what the? Come back.
Positioning Destiny ultimate, okay.
Don't tap
you wanted to see a different part of the map.
Yeah.
Very straightforward play, and Jurgen with the ultimate once again, just gonna nail Clarinet with that. The Paloma ultimate's gonna come out, mitigate some damage, get some decent healing. Dolos, actually the HP advantage, not quite what you'd expect after some big plays like that. Thank God for that Destiny wall. He's stopping so much damage right now, not quite getting hit. The Clerney goo is gonna come out. Destiny has no tools at his disposal anymore. Look at that, he's going to push so far back.
Oh yeah, they are in their own spawn right now, pushing enemy away, and here we go. Just taking out the round 1 like this, and the Jurgen's ultimate was very big. He was able to hit the ultimate, charge, stun into most 2 damage, and it's a guaranteed combo. It's a lot of damage.
I feel like that round just spiraled so fast in favor of Dolos. That felt like they just came out punching immediately. The way they managed them early, pushing Team XD back, especially down sort of towards the bottom right, managing the wall a lot. Of course, the trademark Dolos orb confirms on point yet again, taking the first orb, allowing Jurgen to have that ultimate on deck as soon as possible.
Absolutely. We go round 2. Jurgen is actually running the double trap and disabling trap Battlerites. Enemies caught in the beer trap deal 50% reduced damage and receive 50% less healing. It's very nice, because Paloma cannot really spam heal Destiny at that point if Destiny is sitting in the trap. Definitely a lot of value coming out from that Battleright itself. Here you can see it clearly, just traps into Rain of Arrows.
Yeah. Feels like he just turned 2 heroes on the side of Team XD into sort of useless lumps of just M1s dealing 50% less. You know, we had quite a heated conversation about those trap Battlerites, and it's interesting to see them be implemented now after we had that conversation over food. Hot Biscuit sitting on that full ultimate. Team XD gonna try and back up a little bit. I love the Rain of Arrows placement. Look at Jurgen just so slowly applying the Strangle here, but Hot Biscuit, he's dived into kind of the danger zone there as the flick comes out from Jurgen.
Boom.
High Noon gets him. Clarinet goes down.
That's Dragon Slayer.
I like it.
Boom.
Boom. That's our chosen sound effect? When are we going to get the voice line packs? That's what I'm wondering. We need the Jolt's voice line sound effects, so when the Dragon Slayer goes up,
boom.
Just boom. Everything is boom.
It's nice voice acting there.
I like it. It's good.
Good announcer. But yeah, anyways, just Jurgen's Dragon Slayer is doing a lot of work, and Clerney supporting from the behind, Hot Biscuit pushing forward, and mostly what I saw that round was just like Jurgen fighting Destiny all the time, and just killing Destiny.
It's interesting because, again, it's something we saw Averse have a little bit of difficulty with. I think the way Jurgen manages that Destiny wall is very, very interesting, sort of working Igniv into some unfavorable situations and trying to lay down those Rain of Arrows as Team XD attempts to back up. I think that's really an optimal way of playing Jumong against the slightly more defensive comp that Team XD is running, just pushing them back, following them with the Rain of Arrows, not letting them walk away with too much of their real HP intact.
Yeah, and here we can see Hot Biscuit just pushing forward. A lot of damage, double Rain of Arrows going on the Croak. Other side being used also. They don't have, Team XD doesn't have much defensive abilities left now for a moment, but Can they? Oh, that's beautiful damage. Very nice damage coming out on Hot Biscuit. He was waiting for that.
Wow.
He's dead.
Look at that. That was a really creative combo. I like that. The Croak in-cap into the Destiny ult, into the stun and Paloma ulti. I mean, the way these guys weave their cooldowns together is so nice to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And, well, it's possible for Dolos to come back from this, but Jurgen gave up. He just stood still there.
It's a mind game. He's saying we already got 2 rounds.
Yeah,
I'm not worried.
I've fallen for that before.
Worried.
I think Jurgen is tilted, but he's just faking it.
I didn't know Jurgen was capable of faking being tilted.
He can fake that, and
oh,
it can bite you in the ass. In the butt.
In the butt.
In the butt, yeah.
Most valuable face of Battlerite. Good save, good save, good save. Very good save. This is why they pay you the big bucks, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Here we go to the round 4. It's going to be very good to see if Team XD has adapted it. Hot Biscuit going in, and the stun connects, but nothing coming out of it, other than being in the bad spot yourself.
Man, look at the early aggression from Jurgen, just specifically on the Destiny, as you mentioned there. Wow, reads the Croak stun perfectly with that Prowl. He's going to reposition them, and here is where Dolos is really scary. Look at this, Jurgen just going to be able to post up, land those M2s. Clarinet's going to drop a Desperation Paloma ultimate just to try and top off his teammates a little bit. The HP pool sitting relatively even as Team XD was able to take the first orb. Destiny sitting behind the wall, taking a little bit of damage from the arrows that were stuck in it, but once again, the Jurgen trap negating a lot of his potential damage as Hot Biscuit just running around, doing Freya things yet again, getting his counter hit on top of the Lucy Berry. He's not taking too much real HP, and here comes the goo, but they're not able to find too much value. The follow-up Freya ultimate, unfortunately, they have iframes for all this. Dolos has thrown a lot of ults at the wall, and none of it's really stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very nice play from Team XD. He's completely dodging the damage. It looked like a sure 180 damage ultimate, but no, it wasn't. They dodged it. But meanwhile, just Croak taking a lot of damage. But so is Jurgen. Jurgen is actually kind of in a low state right now. Oh, they get the orb with the Jumong Most 2 is a very good ability for that.
Once again, it seems like Dolos has caught them with not a lot of cooldowns. Clarinet holding onto that ultimate kind of baits Hot Biscuit a little bit, and the resulting Destiny ultimate manages to get a kill, and Dolos is kind of looking like they're going to drop another round here. They do have an opportunity where they could kill Hisgrim, but I don't think they're going to be able to find it, especially now that Paloma has stabilized. He's healing up his teammates. I don't know if Dolos can do anything about this, as Jurgen's going to go down.
Yeah, that was a very nice play coming out from Team XD. Just very nice combos overall, in-caps and stuns into Destiny ultimate. There's not much you can do against it, especially with this lineup what Dolos is using right now. They have no way to shield your teammates from the Destiny ultimate. There's no Bakko shout, for example.
It really feels like the Paloma ultimates in particular is kind of the story of watching Team XD here. These big swing moments that Clarinet is able to sort of concoct out of nowhere with the Paloma ultimate. His usage of the iframe as well always feels very high impact.
Oh yeah, for sure. Round 5, here we go. Is Dolos gonna do it? It looks like the pressure is on them. Honestly, the more I watch Koreans play, they improve every round, more and more and more and more.
The adaptation is very interesting. I think in particular, though, Jurgen really stepping up his game to try and deny some of the presence of Pinky on that Destiny. Dolos going to retreat for the orb control, get that no problem, prowls the Destiny orb very nicely, manages to shimmy out of that Croak follow-up, a nicely timed ultimate by Hoppus is going to get him out of some trouble, but he's still taking so much damage, and I feel like these goos from Clooney have started to be a little bit off. He's not getting too much value out of a lot of these. Once again, Croak going to hop the wall, try and reset. Jurgen just firing away on the backline, building that ultimate, just getting ready to try and let that Dragon Slayer rip at some point. They're going to try and confirm another orb, but blue team going to snag that.
Oh yeah, Hot Biscuit is taking a lot of damage. It had to be the map in the last game. The Dragon Day just wasn't a good map for Croak. Croak didn't have room to do stuff what he wanted, and here right now we can just see Dolos getting whooped.
Yeah, and Team XD are going to be able to take yet another round. It's looking like Hot Biscuit in particular may feel like he's playing, he's overplaying his aggression just a little bit. He's playing very far forward, trying to get that damage in with Freya, and the shields can only save you for so long. They're punished, seeming to be very, you know, well coordinated, as we've talked about before. And Hisgrim is doing a good job of sort of delaying the backline as well from Dolos, pushing Jurgen and Clooney off just a little bit to make some space for his teammates.
Oh yeah. This is, if Dolos doesn't find a way to deal with Destiny and Croak, they are not going to win this. Here we go, the start. Hot Biscuit jumping in again. It seems to be kind of his flowchart now. It's just base in and most 2 into space 1. I don't know if that's the play what you want to do.
And look at how aggressive Jurgen and Hot Biscuit are playing. They're just walking them into their spawn. They've smelled blood. Clarinet, through a couple of bad cooldown rotations, has really no HP to play with. He's going to Clarity off the shield into the M1 to kill it. What a play from Clarity. Sometimes you watch this guy and you're like, that's just so sick. It seems so simple when you watch a play like that. But just identifying the shield is the only thing propping Clarinet up. He doesn't have any HP. Clarity, Dink, you're done.
Yeah, Clarini's doing a very good job. And the aggression from Hot Biscuit and Jurgen. They just pushed into the base at the start of the match and just maybe thought maybe killing Poloma is the solution.
Maybe.
And it seems to work.
I think it's just so important when you watch players of this caliber play, like their ability to identify a situation where it's completely reasonable to push the enemy into their base. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, you have to make that decision of, do we play back? Do we play a little more reserved with a lead we might have? Do we identify a cooldown rotation that wasn't favorable for them and then sort of take advantage of it in a different way, but knowing that whatever happened there at the start of the game would allow them to just hold down their M1s and walk forward. I mean, that alone is very heads-up play.
This is a good series. Absolutely. This game will be very, very close. I don't think Team XD is going to let Dolos do that again.
Yeah.
They're going to push them away. Don't touch our Poloma.
It's interesting the way they start the game because it seems like Pinky every single round tries to set up behind that wall, get a couple of early M1s, get some energy rolling. Jurgen unfortunately going to whiff a bunch of rain of arrows. Oh God, look at that combo. You called it immediately. The follow-up is ridiculous and Jumong is just going to go down here as Hisgrim is going to plow him with those empowered M1s.
Oh yeah, look at the adaptation. It's next level. They immediately found out how to turn this around. Just like that. Snap of your fingers.
The fast play there, man. This is why they pay you big bucks. Again, you predicted that completely. You're like, listen, Crux, there's going to be an adaptation coming out here. They're going to respond to fast round with their own fast round, and that was quite nice.
Crystal ball.
It's crystal ball again. I don't know where this thing is. I don't
know. It doesn't show the right lottery numbers, though.
Oh, okay.
It's unfortunate. It only works for Battlerite.
Yeah.
But right now, the play what Team XD did was very nice. Just killing Jurgen there. We all know that Jumong at the start of the game, start of the round, is not very strong.
Right,
he needs energy, he needs stacks for most one, and if Jumong doesn't have that, he's going to die fairly quickly. So, as we saw in the last round. All right, here we go. Potentially the last round, maybe 50-50.
Very good start for Jurgen. We were talking about the necessity of Jumong stacks. He already has 2. They've denied the crook pressure completely, and he's not able to get a stun off. Hot Biscuit is going to jump in, but directly into a Destiny R. A bit of a late barrier from Clarity. That being said, Paloma and Destiny push back very far again, and once again, we see Jurgen with an opportunity to set up. The croak stun is going to come out. They want this orb, and they do manage to get it on the side of Dolos. Hot Biscuit's got to be careful. Iframes a potential incoming Destiny M2 with that ultimate, and he's trying to go in the backline, but he's not able to connect all that much stuff. The follow-up M2 from Jurgen is big, but he's phantasmed at the time, so his Grim doesn't take too much damage.
Yeah.
Look at that great clarity on the other side as well, and here's the follow-up. The Paloma ultimate gets dropped, but Jurgen executing again.
Nani?
Boom.
Exactly. This round was completely different than the 2 last rounds.
Yep.
This was normal Battlerite, and very collected and punished. It's very, very interesting to see just like the strategies changing so abruptly. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Between rounds. And this is high-level Battlerite. This is what the players can do. And this is only the first games. Like, it's insane.
We're still so early in the tournament, and we're going to 4-4 here, the potential elimination match. If Dolos are able to close one more round in this game, Team XD from Korea is going to walk home after this. An unbelievable amount of pressure. The game is 4-4. I mean, absolutely poetic jolts. I couldn't call this either way. It's been, the adaptations on each side have been so interesting. I can't wait to see how this ends up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The pressure is immense now on Team XD. If they're able to hold it together. So is, by the way, Dolos is sweating too right now.
Oh, for sure.
These are hard games. Croak going overly aggressive, but look at this. Croak is already so far away from his team. Having to go behind the wall. Now the game is basically 2 versus 3, as you can see. All right, now it's 3 versus 3 again.
He doesn't get any work done with that stealth, though. It's really just a mobility tool for him. Goes for that in-cap, but the setup, once again, Hot Biscuit denies it with a counter. He's caught a little bit out of position. The nice double rain from Jurgen is going to push the enemies back as Jurgen sitting on that full bar of energy, sitting on the 3 stacks. He has all the tools he needs in the world for Jumong. Croak going for the setup, able to find a stun on Hot Biscuit. Nicely timed barrier from Clone. He's going to deny a lot of that, as here Dolos are going to push up. They've been forced to use other side as well. This is when Jurgen's going to start going crazy. They have no ability to stop him from dealing damage. Hot Biscuit's got to be very careful that they don't get bursted. All of Dolos has got to be careful. They may have overplayed their hand a little bit. The Destiny Ultimate is going to come in. Team XD are going to be able to sneak that orb.
That was very big, just ulting there, just going in and getting the orb. Oh boy, I'm telling you, this is a very back and forth round. We can see Jurgen being low and Croak being low. He's going to just take so much damage also. Clearly missing the Petrify, that would have been big damage there. But you still can see how many shields Destiny is able to apply to your teammates. They definitely serve a bigger purpose in this game, for sure. And the Wolf bounces.
Very vulnerable here, but Hot Biscuit has no counter. Hisgrim knows it. He's going in to try and get the damage done. Jurgen has no HP to play with at all. The in-cap, the clarity of the in-cap, but now they're going to lock down Cloning. He has plenty of health to play with, but he's forced to bury himself, which is not great for the side of Dolos. They don't really have the tools they need to, as Team XD is going to confirm another orb. They're at a significant HP advantage, and Dolos is being pushed back, and Hot Biscuit is going to go down. Dolos stuck in a 2v3, and it looks like in the 4-4 clutch, Team XD is going to extend this series to at least another game. They're going to manage to take a game off of Dolos.
Exactly that. Right now they can breathe for a moment, just relax. That was insane. That was a very nice game coming out from Team XD. Dolos played very well too, but it seems like they were mostly struggling against the Croak there. The Croak was just able to get the incaps going on, stuns going on, and I actually noticed every time Croak got the incap on Clerney, what Lucy can do incapped?
Exactly.
Nothing. And meanwhile, Hot Biscuit on Freya just completely getting demolished by Destiny and Poloma. Very nicely played from our boys, Team XD.
It seemed very difficult to watch. You know, when you watch Hot Biscuit running around with the Freya, it felt like I would take my eyes off for a second, and I would look back and he'd just have half of his HP just missing. They would chunk him so hard repeatedly. It was very difficult for him to stay in when he needed to stay in. I think he was struggling with that a lot. And we've seen him have a lot of strength on the Freya, but in that game it definitely looked very rough for him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering right now if Dolos is wanting to switch Hot Biscuit up to a range maybe? I would do it maybe.
You think so?
Yeah, I would do it since they have room to try out stuff still. This is not going to be their last game even if they happen to lose, right?
Absolutely.
It's going to be 2-2. But right now it's 2-1 for Dolos. So they have room to do whatever they want. They can try different stuff. They can just completely outmind game their opponent. Yeah. Maybe Jurgen back on melee. It seemed to work.
It's very interesting though because you can't even look at last game and be like, oh, the Jumong wasn't great. You know what I mean? You can't honestly say that Jurgen didn't do his job to the fullest of his ability.
Yeah.
You know, he had a couple of difficult rounds against Hisgrim, but that was mainly just being set up in a situation where Croak could just do Croak things and beat your ranged hero up. We saw so many great Dragon Slayers after great Dragon Slayers from Jurgen, great positioning of the Rain of Arrows blocking the enemy team out. So there's a part of me that like, yeah, you want to see Hot Biscuit maybe switch to range here, but you also don't really want to miss that Jurgen Jumong, especially against the Team XD. I feel like that's a relatively favorable matchup.
What if you combine those both? Jumong and Ashka.
I was wondering a bit. I thought going into this event there was a potential that Dolos might try a triple range comp. We've seen Team XD play very defensively at times, you know, trying to play around Hisgrim's stealth to sort of set up combos there. Do you think a triple range comp could potentially deny that better?
Yeah, absolutely. I could see triple range comp completely destroying Croak. When Croak tries to go in or space in or even camouflage, you could just throw most ones all over the place. And if you hit the Croak, you tell your teammates, here where I'm shooting at.
Right.
And you're able to just force Croak to go away. And Croak was doing so much work in the last game. And I think that's the reason why they won. Just Croak being Croak. Mm-hmm. Amazing plays also, very good player. Isram delivering it for us, absolutely.
I think Croak kind of in general changes the dynamic of the game quite a bit when you watch the Croak in the game. Everybody has to play a little bit differently around stealth, and he has so many iframes, so much mobility as disposal. You kind of have to, you approach the way you navigate that melee in the 2v1 in a very different way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It changes the game completely. When one hero disappears from the map, you know he's somewhere there, right? But you just can't see it, so you have to kind of guess. You have the red eye on top of your head when you might be able to just like, Croak is here, maybe, close to me, but you don't know which direction, right? And good Crocs, they are able to actually mind game you just by walking close to you and walking away. So,
absolutely.
because we play constantly in very like high tens, we are very like, how is it called? Like
intense.
Yeah, exactly. So we might just press our counter immediately,
right,
when we see the red eye on top of us. But I mean, that's just Crocs being Crocs. Good Crocs are very annoying to play against. They mind game you so hard, and if they're smarter than you, they will win you.
Absolutely. I think we saw alone just Hisgrim showing people the strength of the Croak. We are going to have the picks come out, getting into the game momentarily. And Dolos has actually flexed that older against the knowledge that a Croak pick could be coming out. How do you feel about that potentially? It seems like they could be in for a rough one.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier, that older against Croak is not too great. Even if you try to petrify Croak, Croak is just going to press camouflage and it's going to be dispelled, or Croak is going to jump over it. There's so many solutions for Croak against older that the matchup is heavily in favor of Croak.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even now, though, the interesting adaptation here as well is that Jurgen is going to be picking up the Destiny along with the Hot Biscuit Freya. So maybe taking a leaf out of the Korean team's book a little bit, deciding to go with this Destiny pick. We've seen Destiny be so strong, the bursty combos are just so effective, and Dolos might just be trying to say, okay, you know, we've seen your team coordination, we think we can do it better. We're going to run back some of these picks, and again, the Freya on Hot Biscuit, maybe it'll work a little bit better with the sort of closer range abilities of Destiny to set up those combos than, you know, Jumong Wei in your backline, sort of raining damage. And we have a game ready going into the 4th game of this series.
Orman Temple.
Oh man,
interesting map.
We're on an Orman Temple.
Yeah.
Holy crap, Orman Temple Knight.
And too bad neither one of the Destinies took the ultimate Battlerite. It would have been very nice to see ping pongs going all over the place.
Been ridiculous. There is a bit of a Battlerite decision change between Jurgen and Iknim. Of course, they've opted for slightly different things. I love the aggressive play from Dolos already. We were wondering, you know, how would the aggression of Destiny work alongside Freya? Jurgen going for the stun on Croak already. It feels like they've done such a great job of controlling Hisgrim, but there he is in the backline with the in-cap into the stun. And once again, we see Hot Biscuit has taken so much damage this round.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like Jurgen is doing a good job at denying Croak here, but meanwhile, it doesn't really help if Hot Biscuit is dying. Maybe Dolos needs to play a bit more safely. Hot Biscuit not go in. I mean, that's how I see it. But meanwhile, just when Flurny was too busy healing Hot Biscuit, Destiny goes down.
It's one of those trades you make, you know, when your melee takes a lot of true HP damage, you sort of lose that ability for your melee player to buy you a lot of space, and that's exactly what happened here. And that's a main problem for Dolos. You know, when Hot Biscuit loses that large chunk of HP, it in turn means that Jurgen and Clerney need to play differently around the knowledge that that their teammate is a little bit on the back foot there. And right there, Team XD going to lead this off with a pretty convincing first round there. Hisgrim, again, we talked about it. I think the Crook play was a little bit on the quiet side at the start, but those in-caps, like you mentioned on Clerney, just over and over again, shut down the support, then go for the ranged immediately as your teammates handle Hot Biscuit. It seems very effective. Oh, yeah, absolutely. By the way, I thought that the older pick might have been because of the map. For the chrono fluxes, for the choke points, it can definitely help your team, but in order for that to happen, I think Hot Biscuit needs to play a bit more carefully, actually, and not go in. It makes a lot of sense. We've seen him go just so hard right at the beginning. Jurgen having a difficult time approaching, denies the Croak stun though. Oh, they do manage to get that at the end. That's actually huge for Hisgrim as Jurgen gonna fire off that M2. Dolos not able to confirm the first orb. This is not looking so much like classic Dolos as once again. Iknim gets his counter hit. They're going to keep the pressure up. Another great Paloma ultimate there by Clarinet. Knocks Hot Biscuit into it. He takes so much damage. Whiffs his counter as well. The follow-up isn't quite there, though. They don't decide to capitalize on him. But Jurgen, he's out of abilities to use it. Uses the ultimate for not a whole lot of value. And now it feels like a lot of it is on Iknim to get a lot of damage in here behind the wall. But he's going to retreat. Hisgrim, again, going for the setup, finds it on Clerney. Oh, yeah. This ultimate coming out. Again, the swap. Like, Clarinet is so awake, keeping teammates alive, and I'm telling you, Pinky doing a lot of work, but the damage from Dolos, it can just like throw people off. People know that older can deal so much damage in a short time. Yeah. With the what is it called? Recast. Yeah.
No, but he doesn't run it. But the normally, right?
Yeah.
Because it shatters the most 1 debuff
Absolutely.
for 10 extra damage. And he's actually running the Battlerite, what makes it AoE. So it's very devastating to stay next to each other.
Probably incredibly effective against Paloma comps, right? They sit there with the range and you have a lot of opportunity to deal that extra damage. I must say, Dolos looked on the back foot that round, but I felt like the damage they were able to get was more effective than the damage that Team XD was able to get, and ultimately the true HP mattered more for their side.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we can see again. It's very nice to see Hot Biscuit space back instead of spacing in.
Yeah.
And as we can see, he has much more health than in previous rounds.
For sure, he's definitely having an easier start here. I love the bubble placement from Clerney, buying a lot of space for his teammate here. This first over is going to be big, and it's going to go to Dolos. Hisgrim not able to lock anybody down. A rare Petrify actually manages to land on the Croak. And look at all this attention they're giving to Destiny here. Great bubble, and he's going to silence himself. Hot Biscuit in, dealing some decent damage. He's holding onto that Frey ultimate as well. He's looking for an opportunity to try and nail somebody. Jurgen hits a lot of M1s on Hisgrim while he's in stealth as well, as Dolos are going to move up behind the cover of that wall, looking for an opportunity to take the second orb.
Ooh, that's a nice ultimate, but that's not where you want to go, Jurgen. The fight is another way, Soldier. Here we go, EX2 coming out from Jurgen and was able to stop Pinky there, but didn't get anything out of it. And this Clarinet is very evasive, just dodging every damage here. It's very, very beautiful to see, keeping teammates alive.
He's doing a great job attempting to stay alive. They're not going to be able to confirm that orb, though. It is 2-1 orbs in favor of Dolos, as they are going to try and lock them down with Hisgrim stun. Not going to find anything. The Paloma ultimate's going to come out, topping them off in HP a little bit, but Ignim is so low. Jurgen's sitting relatively pretty, just channeling those M2s from across the map here. The ulti is going to come out, and he's going to manage to nail Hot Biscuit, but no kill has happened yet, as Clerney's going to take a decent chunk as well.
Well, it was very nice to see that ultimate hit, and it definitely had some benefits of hitting it. And meanwhile, Hot Biscuit just taking lots of damage. But Jurgen actually hitting 2 people with the ultimate, and you know, Destiny ultimate, it still deals a lot of damage.
Watch them just nailing Hisgrim in stealth over and over again. The guy can't catch a break. He can't get into the middle of the enemy team. They're focusing so much more heavily on shutting him down.
Yeah. This is looking a bit awkward for Dolos, because they are playing with Order, right? And we know that Order Croak matchup is not really much in favor of. Oh, wow. Meanwhile, Order just going down to Croak, just hitting him. And just what I was about to say, that Order loses to Croak. And also, Order doesn't have a lot of healing. So if Hot Biscuit goes in and doesn't get anything done, he's just going to die.
It really feels like the tempo sort of lives and dies on the shoulders of Hot Biscuit. You know, is he able to get in, buy them a decent amount of space while not taking too much damage himself, and then sort of rotate back to his team to help them deal with this Croak pressure that it is just so much. It seems like the ability to lock down Clerney just makes life very, very difficult for Dolos. And Jurgen playing a very aggressive Destiny, trying to go for those orb confirms. They've been losing a lot more orbs than is sort of characteristic of Dolos.
Oh, yeah.
3, 2,
I think it's possible for Dolos to take this, but they need to change their playstyle a bit. Again, Hot Biscuit doing the flowchart thing, throwing most 2 and spacing in as Freya. It's not the best solution, especially if you have Order in your team as a support. But maybe they're just able to push them out from the middle and gain the mid control that way. If they're just able to keep Croak in check. But nah, it's not gonna happen, not this time.
Yeah,
the other side's
other side Hisgrim to get him out, but he walks out of the EXE, unfortunately, and the follow-up from Dolos of that one tiny mistake is huge, but Hot Biscuit, he's having a horrible time. He's taking so much damage. They bait his counter as well. The follow-up from Clarinet, not quite there with the ultimate. He does manage to iframe the Destiny ult. He's going to get older ulted as well. They're going to try and follow up on Clarinet, but they're not going to find anything as Hisgrim going for the in-cap with the stealth, but Wolf into that as well. They're going to proc his counter. Hot Biscuit just living by a thread right now. Jurgen trying to push forward, but he has no HP to work with either, and this is a really miserable looking round for Dolos. Again, Hot Biscuit lands his counter, fairly predictable against Ignim, but he's still going to manage to close out the kill as Jurgen's going to die as well.
They are playing so well together. Team XD. They just watching this, it feels like they improve so quick. And all the practice what the EU players have had for over a year.
Yeah.
And they're getting beat by a team who barely has 3 versus 3 matches in the region.
I agree completely. I mean, it just looks like the way that they coordinate above all else is just really great, and there are mistakes there, but I think in particular, these guys have learned so much about sort of dealing with a melee. I think they may have gotten a rude awakening playing against SSG a little bit earlier in the day. You know, we saw Proster just going so hard over and over again on that melee, and it feels like they're doing a much better job in particular of managing Hot Biscuit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the solution for Hot Biscuit in this match would be to not go in at all. Just punish Croak and then forget about the rest. Let your teammates do the rest. As long as he stays alive, it should be turnable. But wow! Would you look at that?
Look at that! He punished the Croak. Look at that damage. Those are big numbers, Jolts.
With a static buff, just pushing with every most one, you're not gonna escape.
Jurgen doing a great job positioning those EX2s the entire time, followed by those Rs from Destiny. He's trying to find Hughes himself, doesn't manage to find it, but the Croak has no real HP to play with. He's forced to retreat. The Hobbit Ultimate's going to come out. He's going to manage to other side it, but they get the spell block onto Croak. He doesn't really have too much to deal with. One sliver away from death, but they can't close a kill just yet as he's in this. He's going to go for the ballsy stealth anyways, but they're not really able to confirm anything, and they are going to be able to clean him up. It's looking like Dolos are going to put a round on the board after a couple lost.
Yeah, this game is definitely in the melee player hands. If the melee player gets too low health, there's nothing what the team can pretty much do. They need to back off and give the middle. And
absolutely. I love the punish there on Croak. It felt like Hot Biscuit was much more attuned with what he had to do to stop Hughes from harassing his backline. And I think it's kind of that fine line between dealing with the enemy team as Freya, you know, occupying space with the counter, warding people away from your teammates, and then also being willing to return and tape your M1 button down and just beat somebody up.
Yeah. This is very nice gameplay from both teams. The solution also worked out. Hot Biscuit playing defensively and just hitting Croak. It seemed to work.
I just like it quite a bit more because I think you can rely on Jurgen to put out the damage, especially against the Paloma as Destiny. You get your counter proc, you can just shoot that big 30 damage swing at Paloma over and over again. Jurgen's long-range M2s in particular have been great so far. However, they're stacking up pretty heavily here. Dolos is going to try and reconvene here as they manage to take the first orb. Blue team not able to get that. Hughes is going to whiff a stun as well as Jurgen's able to set up behind the wall. But once again, Hot Biscuit just losing a lot of HP.
And Hughes just dealing damage. Combos after combos, beautiful gameplay. In-cap into Destiny EX2, the electric circle. If you leave the circle by your foot, you get stunned.
Hot Biscuit with a great ulti follow-up is going to be able to clean up that kill off of a nice older ult from Clerney as well, and Dolos going to put 2 on the board back-to-back. Very nice.
Wow. This is very back and forth.
Yep.
It's like every game has been very back and forth by these guys.
And I think you're right, it's just a tale of adaptation, and I think the players are sort of actively improving before our eyes, which is something that's absolutely fascinating. I think Clerney's ultimate usage has leveled up a lot over the course of the series. He's become much more in tune with what his teammates are trying to do. He's been dropping the older ultimates at much more meaningful times. I think they're learning a little bit more about how to play against this enemy team too, as it is one thing is these guys on the side of Team XD seem to be following a pretty well-constructed pattern. You know, they play around each other in a very certain way, and it seems like when Dolos can adapt, it takes them a little bit to understand exactly what Dolos are doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there's no doubt Team XD is gonna pull something right now and show us that they're not gonna lose this. They're gonna fight back. They're very good at adapting. So right now we can actually see Hisgrim just playing defensively also. Neither one of the melees seem to go in.
Look at that, he put him in that EX2. They aren't able to follow up with that older ultimate though, but Hot Biscuit sitting on that Freya ultimate is going to be looking to get a huge instance of damage on somebody. The form ultimate from Clarinet's going to come out. Clerney's caught. They've got to be very careful about that. The burst on Croak doesn't manage to come out. Luckily, they have iframes for that Destiny ultimate, and I think Dolos are just going to try and reset. Hot Biscuit going for the ballsy ultimate, doesn't get anything out. He's body blocked as well. He's having a hard time exiting that corridor. So they're going to be able to in-cap Iknip, knock him around again so he can't even channel an M2.
Yeah, earlier we saw Clerney using Petrify on Paloma and Destiny there, and Clarinet used ultimate, and they both just walked into the ultimate to get petrified, and that just shows like how aware they are of the abilities of the game, and just simply not wow, he goes down. I should stop talking.
You just like looking at me so much. You like turning around and having a conversation with me so that, you know, what's on the screen, it doesn't matter as much as our friendship builds. I believe in that. I believe in that. And they deal with Hisgrim in that game so much more smoothly, it felt like. In particular, I think I got to give props to Iknip for that round because I think he played a great round of Destiny there. Even though it seems like they lost, he had some awesome orb confirms. They put a lot more attention into it, and suddenly Dolos, 4-3. Dolos again have an opportunity to close it out right now. These guys got to believe it. They don't want to get stopped right at the pass again.
Oh yeah, it's very nice to see Dolos adapting and not letting Croak to come in and disrupt the backline, and it forces Croak to stay defensive also. But I don't know if if Team XD has a solution for this, it's very hard because I myself can't think of a way for Team XD to find a tactic, a strategy for this.
It's going to be so difficult, especially if Dolos has a better read on Croak, because I feel like that's the real ace up your sleeve. Look at that, they already have to other side him. He has no jumps. This is where Hopizzy wants to move forward. Look at that bubble placement from Clarny. Absolutely brutal, just pushing him out. The follow-up of the R from Jurgen, the M2 from Jurgen. Look at them, they're playing so hot. They have them isolated in that EX2 as well. Dolos is pushing them so far back.
Oh, wow, Bulma goes down. Boom. That's it.
There we go, faith restored. A convincing final round from Dolos there.
That was an amazing series. Like, mind-blowing.
I can hear the cheers from here. This is learning Battlerite.
Absolutely.
You see these guys learning, the robots, they're evolving.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
They're learning before our very eyes. How exciting. I'm already on my feet. I can't wait for this. And we're going to have a game interview with the captain of Dolos coming up right for you. But man, it's what you said, watching the adaptation happen actively in that game is one of the most interesting things you can see before your eyes in competitive Battlerite.
Yes, absolutely. The longer the game is, the more tactics are going to happen, and players are starting to use old tactics and mixing it up, and it's mind-blowing. And seeing Team XD do this well, wow.
Yeah.
In 6 months, DreamHack Winter, they might actually win the whole thing.
I mean, it would be disingenuous to only talk about Dolos in this series, right? Because we saw Team XD come out so strong in their own right, so powerful. It's been a real joy to watch them play, and it's sad that their journey ends here. But, I mean, what a great series to end it on, because it was well fought by all sides. And we do have the man, the myth, the legend, the Clarny, now coming up to the stage for his interview. How are you feeling after that game?
Yeah, that game felt... we're a little bit rough. It was a little bit rough playing after like waiting so long before the game, and we just had a BO5 played before this, but it felt really amazing actually winning.
Yeah, Joltz and I were talking about the real story of that series was like the adaptation between the two teams. It felt like you guys were actively learning a little bit more about how to play against each other, and of course that last final round where you just crushed Hisgrim on Croak. What was the most important thing you felt like you sort of discovered playing throughout the course of the series?
I feel like we discovered in the second game that we should probably just counterpick Croak and just go for Croak. Especially you saw that in the last rounds, we just trying to blow down Croaks all the time.
Absolutely.
As soon as he went in, out of stealth.
So obviously, you know, now you guys get to continue on through the bracket a little bit, having survived elimination for now. Do you feel more prepared for the incoming series after playing this one? Do you feel like you got a second wind?
Yeah, I feel like we just, I feel like we got a little bit better. Now we know a little bit better about what the teams we face next round, and I feel like we're just gonna adapt better, hopefully, and we'll try to keep it more clean.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
Sounds great, dude.
Nice.
Congratulations on your victory.
Thank
what
you.
a series to watch.
Yeah, that was a very nice tournament. Must be tired already.
Dude, that's really tiring.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get some fresh air now.
Yeah, that's good.
Well deserved. We're going to cut to a quick break after that absolute banger of a series. Stay with us. We got more exciting Battlerite on the way.